This is the Epic Marvel Podcast YouTube channel live stream, and we are going to open some packages today that have some Epic collections and have some DC Finest. And how are you today? Did you have a good weekend? For some of you, it was a long weekend. Some of you even took an extra day off, and maybe it was an extremely long weekend. Maybe for some of you, the holiday's still going. Maybe for some of you, you got no holiday, and I feel very sorry for you that you had to work all weekend. Sorry about that. I see that there are some friends here in the chat as usual here, the same old crew, Ryan, Stephen, Phil, Joe, Jason. Nice to see all of you, and I'm sure more will start to trickle in as we get going with this live stream here. How about those epic announcements the other day, hey? I don't know about you, but I am super excited about more ROM. I'm really excited about the next Avengers book, Absolute Vision. I really like Ultimate Spider-Man. That one's great, but I think the ones that I'm most excited for are the John Byrne Fantastic Four. That volume's coming out in February of next year, and then following up the next month with Thor, the first Simonson volume. So they're getting to those big ones. We've been asking for ages, why is it that the epics have been dancing around this period in the 80s when so many big name runs happened? The Byrne run of Fantastic Four, Roger Stern's Spider-Man, Michelini's Iron Man, and the beginning of Peter David's Hulk. Well, um, there's a number of reasons for that. They kind of split the Epic collection when they first started. They split it into two chunks. There was the 60s and 70s, which was one chunk, and then kind of the late 80s and 90s was another chunk, and they're handled by two different editors. And so typically with the longer running series, we'd get one volume from the 60s, 70s, and then and they usually moved in chronological order, starting from the beginning, and then we got another volume from like the late 80s and the 90s, somewhere around there. And then there was this big chunk in the middle that was missing. One of the biggest reasons why okay, so and because they're releasing the 60s 70s stuff in chronological order, it just took a long time to reach the beginning of the 80s. So but we're here now. And then another reason for that is that Marvel Masterworks has been slowly restoring the whole Marvel back catalog for decades now. And then they're just recently at the 1980s now. And so I think they've been waiting to put out the Epic collections until they get those volumes out of the way for the Marvel Masterworks, because they're putting a lot of time and effort and money into restoring those eras, and then they'll sell those books, and then it'll become the Epic collections turn after that. Um, I'm in Austin, and so it's been rains and floods. Not a good time. Yeah, I've been seeing that on the news. Absolutely tragic news. Yeah, my heart and prayers go out to you in Austin. That is just not easy at all. It's just some terrible stuff going on. I hope that all clears up and the waters recede and everyone can get back to life as usual. Those poor families that lost their kids, I just can't even imagine. Have you been seeing our messages on Discord and Facebook about the missing annuals in the Fantastic Four and Thor? I did see those. Yes, it looks like the mapping doesn't include those, at least at this time. I have to imagine that they have a plan, because all of the annuals are included, and that's kind of been one of the mandates of the Epic Collection from the start, is an unbroken run of issues that includes the annuals, and then extra stuff as room fits, but the annuals have always been included in there. So maybe they'll come a little bit down the road. I'm not sure. Or maybe they're changing the way they are approaching Epic collections as well. It would be a shame if that were happening, but with the rising costs of paper and shipping and all of that kind of stuff, there's two routes that they could go. They could either rate, because they have all of these volumes mapped out, right? Because they already have the later volumes in the run. They could either sorry, I moved my mic a little closer. I forgot it's so far away. Either they can increase the price, the cover price, or they can keep the price the same, but then something has to give. Either you get a worse paper stock, or maybe they reduce the page count. And maybe trimming the annuals is the way that they want to keep the price point down. But I sure hope that that's not the case. Um, just speculating. I have no idea. But yeah, I'll put in the word to Omar so that he knows about that, and we'll whether he passes that along to Marvel or not, I'm not sure. It was a good mix of books in this announcement. I agree. It was a little bit of everything. Did you notice there was also 1 month in there? I think February had no modern era epic collections at all. It was just all classic ones. So it was a very even mix of books. Not as many as we would usually get in the first few months. So I think maybe they're scaling back a little bit there too. Not sure. We'll have to see how the rest of the year shapes up. But just so as everybody knows, we are going to do more Epic Collection announcements this Friday on the Near Mint Condition YouTube channel. Again, same time. It's going to be 8:30 in the morning for me here on the West Coast. 11:30 for you in the East Coast, and some ungodly hour in the morning or the middle of the night for all of you on the other side of the world. But it'll be, let's see, we did February, March, April. So that means this is going to be May, June, and July. We're going to get 3 more months of Epic Collections. And let me tell you, there are some good books in there as well. Yeah. Okay. Samantha is listening on my 10-kilometer run. Can't wait for more announcements later this week. That's great. I'm glad that I'm able to do this at a time when you are enjoying some exercise. That's great. Just here to thumbs up and say hi. Thanks. I appreciate the thumbs up. If any of you also want to give a thumbs up to this video, that would be fantastic. Oh, yes. James says the return of the Punisher. You did catch that, right? The Punisher, after what, by the time this one releases, it'll have been 5 years since the last time the Punisher had an epic collection. So we are finally getting that one. It's volume 8, not the one that people were expecting or wanting per se, but at least Punisher is getting a new epic collection. And that is pretty exciting, isn't it? I think so. Okay, we're going to open up a package today. See what's inside. I don't know which one this is. Maybe it's Marvel, maybe it's DC. Let's find out. It is DC. This one is DC Finest Wonder Woman, the legend of Wonder Woman. And there's a look at the spine there for you. This is 1983 and 1986. Don't let the cover fool you, because even though this cover looks very Golden Age with Wonder Woman kind of in her Golden Age outfit, although it's not a skirt. So, but this is Trina Robbins, and Trina Robbins, who passed away just like a year ago. She has this very old school style of drawing, and she did a mini series with Kurt Busiek, which is collected in this volume, and that's the title, The Legend of Wonder Woman. And they decided to put that on the cover. I don't think it's as representative of the era as another cover would have been. And from what I've read in some of the online chatter, some people are skipping picking this one up because they thought it was Golden Age, but no, it's actually not. And we'll take a look inside so you can see. Um, this is a lot of stuff by Dan Mishkin and Kurt Busiek. And let's see who else is in here. Look at that great cover here. So this era, 1983, 1986, is just before the crisis, I believe, right? So this is the very, um, this is Bronze Age, but it's just before the crisis era stuff. And my Wonder Woman knowledge is very, very lacking. Um, I don't know much about Wonder Woman at all, except kind of just the major plot points. That's a Gil Kane cover with Don Heck as the penciler. So all you Marvel fans, if you like Don Heck, that's cool that he's still around in the 80s doing stuff. Um, of course, Marvel fans will know Don Heck from his work on especially like Iron Man and Avengers. Um, in the Silver Age of Marvel, but here he is in the Bronze Age, kind of late stage Bronze Age actually as well. Um, I'm not sure when he died, but it was probably in the 90s, I think, in the early 90s. So he's probably kind of at the end of his career here. This is the Super Friends era, though. 1983, Super Friends kind of went throughout the 80s, so I think you see a lot of that kind of influence in. Not that the TV show influenced the comics, but they were kind of working on the same level with their character designs and such. And you can see that come out here. This looks like this is the quintessential look of Wonder Woman that you would always get in like the license art and that kind of stuff too. So I think that's really cool. Oh, that's a great cover. Look at that in the House of Mirrors. Really looking forward to reading this one. Man, Don Heck's art looks still good even in the 80s. Some people like Herb Trimpe underwent massive style changes through his career, but man, Don Heck just looks classic. Like that looks like it's straight out of the 60s. So maybe the cover is representative of the era. This is not what you would typically find, I think, in the 80s. So that's very cool. Heck died in 1995. Thanks, Phil. I knew you would know. You probably Googled it, or maybe you knew off the top of your head. That's kind of the thing that you would know for sure. So you probably did not Google that. Um, let's see if I can find that mini series here so we can show off. Oh, good. Superman shows up. The big question I always have is, are there any gorillas in this book? Because DC loves their gorillas. I see the Blue Devil. I see Brainiac. Um, little Brainiac alien creature there. Yeah, man, that's so good. Don Heck is amazing. He's great. But where is that miniseries? It must be at the very end here. Ah, yeah. Okay. So yeah, it has a very golden age feel to it. She did work for Eclipse magazine in the 80s, probably alongside this one. She did a series called California Girls. She was a very outspoken feminist as well, and did a lot for trying to improve the rights and wages of female artists in the comic industry and such. So did a lot of that work. Yep, there we go. Any bonus features? DC Finest doesn't usually have bonus features, and it looks like this is the same case. Just a couple of pages of ads to fill up to get their page quota. Dr. Cyber is in this. Okay. I don't know who that is, but that sounds cool. Do you read history books about comics? There's been a lot of new books on the subjects. I used to read a lot of history books. And nowadays, I don't read as many. It's got to be a subject that's particularly interesting to me. So, in order for me to spend my time, but I am well aware of a lot of those books, and there are some really fantastic books in art and histories out there. I've been a part of some of them on the comic strip side of things. I I wrote a book about Chuck Jones. Actually, it's called the Dream That Never Was, and it has a big long essay, or a big portion of it is dedicated to Chuck Jones's later career after he left Warner Brothers. So that's the kind of stuff that I do like that stuff for sure. I met Trina a few times, and she was a mentor to a close friend, and she was great. Her mini is sort of a goodbye to pre-crisis Wonder Woman. Well, that's cool. And it's Kurt Busiek as well, who was kind of getting he started in the industry at the time. If I remember correctly, he was starting in the 80s, and so some early stuff from him. That's cool. Got this last week, and I've been enjoying it. The first Blue Devil in DC Finest. Yeah, that's cool. Um, I'm gonna start reading this tomorrow morning, and we'll see how far I can get before the next book comes in, which is JSA. So that's cool. With a new Cosmic Spider-Man story coming up, it is time to reprint Amazing Spider-Man Epic Volume 20 Cosmic Adventures. Uh, I didn't know that. There's another Cosmic Spider-Man story coming out, hey? I guess they have to revisit that trope again. They seem to like doing that, which is fine. If they have a new take on it, a new spin, I'm all for revisiting that stuff as long as it's interesting. Okay, everybody, here's an epic collection for you. Captain America, Volume 7. It's called The Swine. And this is important because this is the second half of the Jack Kirby era when he returns to Captain America in the 70s. This collects 1976 to 1978. It has Captain America 201 to 221 plus Annual 3 and 4. And so the previous volume, which was um, The Man Who Sold America, I think that's what it's called, right? Um, man, I just can't get over how big look at all of these epic collections. The list grows longer and longer every month. Yeah, The Man Who Sold the United States. And so that's the first half of Jack Kirby's run when he returned to Marvel in the 70s. He also did books like Devil Dinosaur and um, how come I'm blanking? I don't know, whatever. Eternals. That's what I was thinking. Eternals. Like, why couldn't I think of that? Anyway, he also had to return to Captain America, where he was not just the writer, but also sorry, not just the artist, but also the writer. Historically, he had always been paired with a writer on Captain America, but this is the first time he gets to deal with the adventures of the Star Spangled Avenger on his own. He got some good layouts. Kirby's a very wordy guy, so you can see a lot of that reflected in here. He has a very strict 6-panel page layout, and sometimes he would deviate from that by combining some of the ones in one tier, but usually he'd stick pretty close to the 6 ones. And then here's 4. John Romita did a lot of 4-panel layouts. He likes his 4 panels, but that's cool. The colors are really dark. I don't know if they're supposed to be that dark. That looks pretty dark to me, darker than usual. But after Captain America leaves, then we get a short run. Oh, look at this. Arnim Zola. And let's see, first appearance of Arnim Zola is in that volume. Look at that. That's great. Nice. Jack Kirby, I'm definitely going to pick it up. Same material in the Kirby Cap Omni or Captain America Volume 4 Omni that just released. Right, yes, this material, especially because it's Jack Kirby, has been printed a lot of times. Um, it's it's nothing new for comic collectors. But what is new here, oh, look at that double page spread there. Except you can't see this guy in the middle. He gets lost in the gutter a little bit. Is the stuff that comes after Kirby, which also has been collected, like in the Cap Omni and in Marvel Masterworks. But oh, here's a king size annual. Let me see if I can find. Look at that. So many double page spreads from Kirby. Very cool. Um, Here it is. George Tuska and Pablos Marcos as the artists, with Roy Thomas returning to do a few issues here. And then the other people who do some issues in this one are Don Glute and John Buscema take up just for a few issues here. And they do he does a little bit of a callback to some of the stuff that happens um, in the Golden Age, I believe. So I can't remember these issues very much. It's been a long time since I've read them, but that's cool to see. And John Buscema on art is always cool. He was on art before Jack Kirby came back, and of course they had to say like, "Oh, sorry, John, Jack's back. You gotta go somewhere else." And then, but once Jack was gone, they welcomed Buscema back, and that's the first appearance of Quasar. Oh, one of them, some of them, I somewhere in there. The dude was Krang before Krang. Yes, that's true. Arnim Zola does have that Krang thing going on. Always had a creepy look to me with that wide face and the torso. Awesome body horror. I really like how they did that in the MCU by just making him like a little webcam and then having it project on the computers there instead of having him be like a walking monstrosity, which kind of would be cool too. But I like that they were a little bit more subtle with that in Winter Soldier. So let's see here. Here's the back cover in case you want to see a great depiction of Cap with the red skull. The spine image is Captain America from the front cover. And if we want to see what is there in the way of bonus features in this book here? Calendar pages from the bicentennial calendar, some original art by Jack Kirby and Frank Giacoya. It's kind of cool to see. Get to see his whiteout marks and stuff like that, the paste up marks. Not too much in the way of bonus features here. It's not one of the more thick volumes of Captain America, but there you go. Um, Still 20 issues plus three plus two giant size annuals, so that's awesome. Yeah, if they did a physical look for Zola in the MCU, it probably would have looked like what they did with MODOK and Ant-Man, and well, not saying any more about that. Yeah, I agree with that one. That was like, what? Oh man, MODOK could have looked so much cooler. Oh yeah, I've got one more package. Let's see what's in this one. Oh ho ho ho! It's Daredevil. Daredevil Modern Era Epic Collection, Volume 6. The Devil in Cell Block D. So we've had in the way of Daredevil Modern Era Epic Collections, we've had volume 2, 3, and 4, which collect most of the Bendis run. But then for some reason, they decided to skip ahead to this volume here, which is the beginning of Ed Brubaker's Daredevil. And we just announced in the live stream last week that the next Daredevil, the missing Daredevil volume, volume 5, will be coming in, I think it was January of 20 or sorry, February of 2026. So the question is, do I read this now or do I wait? Because I've loved the Bendis era of Daredevil through volume 2, 3, and 4, but I think I gotta wait. I think I'm gonna have to wait on this one to read it until February so I can read that one first and then jump right into this. And from what I hear, Brew Baker's Daredevil is really good. So let's see here. Michael Lark is doing some art. Michael Lark does the first 6 or 7 issues there. Oh, it does a lot of the issues. Plus David Aha doing one of them, and Lee Weeks doing another. Lee Weeks is a classic Daredevil artist from the 90s. And then Daredevil Annual #1 by Andy Parks and Leonardo Fernandez. We'll do a little bit of a look through here. So Michael Lark, he's the guy that was on Alias when that book launched with Brian Michael Bendis, and he did some work on Captain America as well. And I think they put him on this because he has a very similar style, not very similar, but he's got a complementary style to Alex Malev, who was doing the art through the Bendis run. And so I think they want to keep that very earthly feel to dark and gritty feel to the book, so they could put Michael Lark on it, and he does a good job. I do like his work. Um, Very muted color palette. Hey, a lot of just grays. It's kind of washed out to make it look really drab and dreary, because this was a drab and dreary time for Daredevil. He was not having a lot of fun. He's in jail, and so at least I assume so from the title of the book. Looks like there's a lot of jail scenes in here. But and so yeah, he's not very colorful. It's not a very colorful book at all. So flipping through here actually doesn't look very exciting because it's kind of bland. Everything kind of looks the same. But I'm gonna guess that the story. Oh, there's a little bit more color. The story is probably compelling enough that we'll get sucked in. So Tombstone, that's cool. I like a good Tombstone story. There you go. Yeah. Greetings from Atlanta. Thanks for everything you do, Curtis. Thank you, Deke Radio. Wait, what am I waiting for? Tell me, what am I waiting for? Oh, you're telling me to wait to read it. I see. That's what it is. Yeah, I think I will. I think that's what I'm going to do. It's going to go nicely on my shelf until volume 5 comes out, and then I'm going to read this one. Hey, dude, I got my Secret Wars omnibus today from Amazon. I waited so long for it to go down in price. It was originally 120 pounds, but I got it for only 44 pounds. Such a bargain. Do I have a Secret Wars paperback? I do have the Secret Wars paperback, which has issues 0 to 9, but it's good to finally have the whole story in one. Good job. That is a tremendous deal if you got it for that cheap. A fraction of the price. Very, very nice. Very, very good. Daredevil has so many great runs. I think especially in the modern era, it's one of the more consistently good books. But yeah, it had a good run in the classic era too, with a few missteps. Actually, it kind of didn't really make waves for the longest time. The only runs, real runs that get any sort of notoriety are Ann Nesenti's run because it stood out. It was very different, and then also um, Fall from Grace, the Chichester era, which is infamous. People either love it or hate it. On Saturday, I bought Siege, Secret Invasion, and Spider-Man Life Story. Good job. Yeah, all of the events that don't make it into the Epic Collection. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Did you like Smith's Guardian Devil? I did not. I liked it when it came out. I will have to. It's been a long time since I've read it, so I'll have to reread it. I don't remember it being terrible or anything. It was new and different. When I read it, I wasn't very familiar with Daredevil, so maybe that has something to do with it. But it was new and fresh, and I enjoyed it. But I'll have to give it a reread when the eventual Epic Collection comes out. Oh, how could I forget Frank Miller? Of course. Right. Yeah. That's like top tier Daredevil right there. How could I forget it? Frank Miller, that's so funny. Hey, how's it going, Curtis? Not too bad, Adrian. How are you? Um, you thought it was a ripoff of Frank Miller's run, hey? Interesting. Huh. I mean, that's not a bad thing. I mean, if you want to try and go for the same kind of feel that Frank Miller was going for, the thing that made Daredevil, better, then more power to you. But I don't know. Maybe it worked for some people. Maybe it didn't. That's the thing about these stories is some of these stories are going to be people's favorites. Some people are going to just not connect with them at all, and that's the same with every single issue across the board. There are people that just don't like John Byrne's Fantastic Four at all. I don't understand who they are, but it's true. And yeah, some people have Carnage is their favorite Spider-Man villain. Other people don't understand why that character even exists. So you gotta understand that it's all just purely taste. So there's the three books we talked about just now: Wonder Woman, DC Finest, and then Daredevil and Captain America Epic Collections. And yeah, that Daredevil one does look a little skinny, but you know what? They must have to divide up Brubaker into even volumes, and that's what came out. That's what I'm guessing. It was nice to see the FF and Thor volumes announced. It is about time we get the signature runs. Yes, very true. Guilty, Your Honor. You're talking about not liking Carnage, right? Yeah. Absolutely. My guess for the completed Epic line is ROM or Micronauts to finish the license, but I could see them finishing West Coast Avengers if they aren't including Force Works or maybe Moon Knight. So yes, you're referring to the little comment I made in the live stream saying that there is going to be one line that is going to be finished because of our announcements that's happening. One of the announcements brings us the final missing volume. And what will it be? Not saying here. You'll have to find out on Friday. Fridays when we're going to be doing the live stream for Epic Collections coming out in May, June, and July of 2029. So if you are around at 8:30 in the morning, my time on the West Coast, then you can join me and Omar as we go through those Epic Collections. I think we have the same amount of books to talk about. Um, Blink twice if it's Captain America. Sorry, I can tell you right now, Captain America is not the line that's going to be finished because there is more than one volume needed for that. We already have two gaps there in Captain America's run. It's volume 8, the one right after this volume, plus Heroes Reborn, because we already have the Heroes Return volume 1 Captain America Epic Collection coming out later this year. And yes, I know, Phil, you don't count those ones because it's the 90s and whatever, but facts are facts. Sorry, there are more than one volume. It's not going to be completed, even if we announce volume 8. Um, it's I'm talking about something different. Omar telling you to stop with the spoilers was comedy gold. That was great. Hey, I wasn't. There's still so much. There are going to be some great surprises in here. I can tell you for a fact that you are going to be happy with a number of these books. All of you will find something to love here. Like Phil said about these last announcements, there is some great variety in this upcoming announcements as well, and you're gonna love it. Other than Winter Soldier, what is a good starting place for Captain America? I am open to any era. What? Okay, well, chat, you can chime in. What do you think is a good era, good starting place for Captain America? Um, I would say the beginning, but I actually don't really like a lot of those early Silver Age ones. I find them repetitive. It's not until volume Epic Collection, maybe volume 2 or 3, that I would really say he gets going. So if you love the Silver Age, maybe start with 2 or 3. The beginning of Grunwald's run is really good. Yes, Phil says the Englehart run is really great, which is true. That one's good. I really like JM D. Mateus's short run. That one's really great too. Roger Stern and John Byrne. Yeah, that Epic Collection, volume 9, I want to say. Let's just see here. What is it called here? Dawn's Early Light. That's right. Volume 9 is John Byrne and Roger Stern. That is a good era. Very, very short. Monsters and Men is the JMD Mateus era, which I really like. So you can try that one. Um, let me see here. And then I really like Society of Serpents, which is volume 12, which is half of it's Mike Carlin, and then the other half is the beginning of Mark Gruenwald. And both of those writers I liked. I thought they were both great. Mark Gruenwald's run spans like 10 volumes, and it has its ebbs and flows for sure. But the beginning is strong. So I think my sweet spot here is probably volumes 9, 10, and 11. 9, 10, 11, and 12. Maybe 13. Oh, yeah, 13, 14. Yeah, 9, let's say 9 to 15. I really like 9 to 15. Those volumes are great. And then volumes 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, man, yeah, so much of the Silver Age is good too. I really like volumes 2, 3, and 4. Volume 5 is the Englehart era, I believe. Yep, and that one's good. And then yeah, Kirby is not my favorite era. This is not my favorite era of Captain America. But another person said Mark Wade's run in the modern era is good. So check that one out. I have not read Mark Wade's Captain America, so I can't comment there. Sal Buscema was one of the best cap artists ever. Yes, absolutely. I would agree with that. Sal Buscema was excellent on that title. This and Hulk were two of his best books. Can't wait for Friday. I hope at least Spider-Man epics in those epic announcements for May and July. So you don't have enough Spider-Man in your life, hey? Because there's a lot of Spider-Man in those early months there. January has a modern era and a classic era and a Miles Morales. Um, and then we also announced another modern era, volume 3, a couple months later. So there's a lot in there. Are you going to see Superman this week? I am. I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So yes, I am planning on seeing it this weekend. Don't have a time quite picked out yet, but I'm going to make some time for it for sure. You can get the Marvel Masterworks Roger Stern John Byrne for about 25 bucks. Yeah, but it's not an epic collection. It's got those stiff covers that, they're not bendy like this. It's kind of weird, you know? It's weird when books are like that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, people, do we have anything more to say about these books? Captain America, Volume 7, The Swine, which means, and this is what Phil was talking about a little bit earlier, there's one more volume to go for the pre-Heroes Reborn era Captain America. We have volumes 1 to 7, and then we have volumes 9 all the way to like 25. No, 24. We're just missing that one volume, volume 9, and then you have an unbroken run of Captain America from his return in the Silver Age in the 60s all the way to his quote unquote death in Onslaught in volume 24 in the 90s. That's just unbelievable. We've come so long, such a far long way in these epic collections. To be able to be this close to the end is truly amazing. You can never have enough Spider-Man. I guess that's actually true. Yeah. It was quite a jolt to go from Sal to Frank Robbins. Yeah, very true. Especially the Frank Robbins of the 70s. He had a very, very unique style. Mark Wade and Ron Garney were lightning in a bottle. Oh yeah, I forgot that Mark Wade. I have read the Mark Wade run because that's at the end, very um, right before Onslaught. In fact, Heroes Reborn interrupted the run and they resumed it with Heroes Return. It's the Heroes Return stuff that I haven't read, uh, but I have read that stuff before, and it is good. You're right. Hey Curtis, joined late, but I'm hoping to see a new She-Hulk and Hulk volume this Friday. Okay, you'll have to see. I'm not going to give out any more spoilers, or Omar will get mad at me. Dang, I didn't realize there's that many Cap books out already. There is 23 of them. There are 23 classic era epic collections for Captain America at the moment, and then two of the modern era with another one on the way. Did you struggle with gaps in epics? Because I couldn't go from volume 1 to volume 5. I need the reprints. You know what? With the classic era, it doesn't matter. You know what? With all of that stuff in the 60s, 70s, 80s, go ahead and skip. I recommend it, um, because that's the way people were reading back before these reprints were anyway. Like nobody could get their hands on a full run. You'd have to jump around, and it was the comics were built for you to be able to do that. They are written in a very accessible way, and the way that writers were writing is there was continuity, but um, not every event was an earth-shaking, this changes the shape of the Marvel universe forever like it is now. You could jump into any issue from Captain America 1 to, even 350 and have no problem. So, yes, maybe you have that urge to try and read it from start to finish, but I fully endorse jumping around. And, if one volume isn't doing it for you, just skip it and go on to the next one or go on to another volume that looks a little bit better for you. Totally fine to do. Heroes Return is pretty good. Yeah, I understand that it's one of the better titles of the Heroes Return era. So that volume's coming out later this year, and I'm looking forward to it. I love Frank Springer's feral 70s art. Yeah, I mean, it does take some getting used to. I don't know that I would say it's my favorite, but it's definitely um I don't know. It's not my favorite. It's so unique, very, very different. Um Much of the Silver and Bronze Age are standalone stories, plus there are recaps when needed at the beginnings of issues. Yep, exactly. That's the way that it was, because it was never guaranteed that you could go to the convenience store and find that next issue on the spinner rack. So the way that they were written now, the way they're written then, is that you could just pick up one issue and have a great time. Very different. The direct market changed a lot of the way that the comics are writing, because now you have pull boxes, so you're not contained. You like you could very easily collect all the issues in a very reliable manner, and so it's like, okay, well, let's get some longer stories going. I think it's because I really enjoyed Avengers 1. Going to Volume 5 kinda shocked me a bit. I see, yeah, Captain America Volume 1 oh, sorry, Avengers Volume 1 and Volume 5 are very different. Honestly, Volume 5 is when it's really, really great. If you loved Volume 1, I think you would really love Volume 5 as well. So if I can encourage you to just kinda jump in, I think you'd really enjoy it. Okay, I think that's it for us today. I'm going to cap it here. Our conversation was a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody, for joining the chat. Just to recap, we talked about Captain America the Swine. We talked about the Devil in Cell Block D. And we talked about Wonder Woman, the Legend of Wonder Woman. So if you haven't already, please like this video and please subscribe. And then if you subscribe, you'll get notifications whenever I go live. And I didn't even intend that. That's awesome. I'm gonna cap it here. Thanks for that, Deke Radio. You are all awesome. I hope to see you on Friday for the next round of Epic Collection announcements. We'll be on the Near Mint Condition YouTube channel, so make sure you set your alarm clock for that. Thanks, everybody. See you later.